So I was in a marriage that was good, very, very good, but ultimately not great. And that was because I was being good, very, very good, but not great. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is the question that so many women have in the back of their mind, wonder if it's going to happen for them, and ask me about all the time. If I achieve my big goals, if I become more, if I do more in my life, if I create whatever level of success I'm going after, whether that's financial success or some other big, crazy goal that you're going after, am I going to lose my relationship? Am I going to lose the love in my life? And really, this is a question of security. And I'll get into that more in a moment. And people ask me this specifically because I am a woman who has made a quantum leap in her income generation abilities, what kind of revenue she's creating with her business, and has gotten a divorce. And are those two things correlations? Or are they not related? And how are they related if they are related, if they're not correlations? So the first thing to know is that I do not believe that success and divorce correlate. There are many people who are not financially successful, not successful by another metric in terms of what they're able to create in their lives, goals-wise, emotions-wise, all of that, who end up getting divorced. So clearly, it's not solely because of an income breakthrough. And is it highly correlated? I don't actually know. But I also know that there are many, many people, men and women both, who make massive income breakthroughs and stay married, and their marriage grows significantly together. So my personal experience with observing this in many people who have made quantum leaps financially is that it's not correlated. But let me talk to you specifically about what I do know, which is my experience, my personal experience, because I think that will give you a very interesting lens through which to see this discussion, to perceive how to look at this question. So if the elephant in the room is, was my divorce because of my big financial success? The answer is yes and no. The yes part is not the money piece, but the personal growth that came through and from having to grow into someone who created that level of income. So let me explain. And to do that, we need to take 5 steps back. The question really is, for most people, in the back of their mind, but they don't necessarily see it when they're looking at this, is, am I going to lose security? And that's where the brain starts fritzing out, because it hits such a deep core fundamental issue for us as human beings. We want love, belonging, and security. And we'll do just about anything to have those things. And we hit up against our beliefs when we're going for more of any goal any big goal that you're going for, we hit up against our beliefs about what brings us this love, safety, and belonging. And though we may consciously understand that a relationship may no longer be serving the higher good of everyone involved, we stay in it because these core beliefs are driving the show. So let's start out with the truth. That love, safety, belonging, in truth, don't come from a singular relationship. That's like saying having money makes you a good person or a bad person, which is the farthest thing from the truth. You don't get money and become a different person. Money amplifies the kind of person you already are. You don't get into a relationship and it causes you to be lovable or have a sense of security or feel like you belong. It amplifies what's already there. The relationship amplifies what's already there. In hindsight, I'm pretty sure I was looking to my marriage to make me feel love, belonging, and security. I thought if I could just be in this relationship, I would have those things. Finally, I would be loved. Finally, I would feel like I belonged. Finally, I would be secure. But going back to the truth is that some relationship, or even a compact like a marriage, can't do that, cannot bring you the love, safety, and belonging that you so desire. It just amplifies what you already are. It's not going to fundamentally change those core beliefs or those core drivers or change you into a person who has them all of a sudden. You don't become different when the prince comes and gives you the kiss. You're still the same woman. I'm so extraordinarily grateful for my marriage, for that marriage, and for my ex. Because another truth is, about my particular story, that the marriage was the best thing that had ever come into my life up until then. It really was. It was exactly the relationship I needed at the time. But looking back now from the level of awareness that I have now, I can see that I was using it to solve an emotional problem, which was that I didn't feel lovable and I didn't feel like I belonged and I didn't feel secure in the world. But this is really an understanding. This is really about understanding the problem. This is an issue of awareness. See, I thought that love was a reaction, that it was a result of what someone else did. Same with belonging and security. I had no idea that those qualities are self-generated, and then you find resonance with other people. Then you find resonance with love, safety, and belonging. They can't come from the outside. They can only be reflected back to you based on who you are being. But they cannot and will not be there in your life if you don't exist, if they don't exist within you first. That's how you create them. It's self-generative. So I was in a marriage that was good, very, very good, but ultimately not great. And that was because I was being good, very, very good, but not great. As I grew in my level of awareness through my journey of building my business, the discomfort of being outside directed or reactive to the world outside of me, including my relationships, became more and more present. I could no longer hide from the fact that I was constantly turning to the outside world to tell me whether I was doing a good job, whether I was good enough, and whether this was going to be able to be maintained, whether I was going to be able to have love, safety, and belonging. That I was loved, safe, and belonged. You must, at some point, confront the truth that if you don't love yourself, you'll never feel like you belong. you will always reject yourself. If you don't love yourself, you will always be dependent on others to provide that to you, which in that definition that you're relying on others, you lose your own personal security. You have just given away all your power, and that can be taken away. If your security is dependent on someone else giving you love, and they can take that away and walk away, reject you, cut you off from the love, whatever it looks like, you are not secure in this world. You don't have your personal freedom. That's not security. That's not freedom. It must come from you first. And this awareness became quite great, that I was looking outside of myself to give me those things that I so desperately wanted. And I was making small and large decisions based on not wanting to rock the love, safety, and belonging boat of this relationship. No one was doing it to me, okay? 100% personal responsibility here. I was making those decisions. It was my security blanket. But it was also keeping me trapped. I was letting it do that to me. No one was doing it to me. I was allowing myself to be trapped. In little ways, like how we spent our time or money, I would change and contort to go along with. I didn't even realize I was doing it at the time. It just looked at like, what we did, how we had fun. Now I understand that there, of course, are compromises in relationships and in partnerships, okay? It's not my way or the highway all the time. But there is a point, and I think you know it, where we feel we've gone over the edge. We've lost ourselves a little bit too much. We've started to become a little bit too small. We've compromised too much. And we're using the relationship as a crutch or as a reason why we're not willing to face our own fears and grow and go for more. So I was on a journey of growth in the form of building my business. That's a framework that you guys have to understand, that in growing my business, I was also growing my personal freedom. Financial freedom for sure, but emotional and mental freedom as well. And I couldn't have it both ways. I couldn't be growing towards that end of full self-expression, full self-ownership, and be shrinking in my relationship at the same time. Those two things did not go hand in hand. And I can see now, with 2020 hindsight, that was what I was doing at the time. I really wanted to be someone who made $1 million, okay? That was like you might not have the same goal as I did. You can have a totally different goal and still relate to this story in some way. But that was my goal. I had a big money goal. And I may have thought at the time that it was about the money, like I want to make $1 million. But really, it was who I wanted to be. I wanted to be someone who did big things, who knew how to create what she wanted in this world, who was secure and loved herself because she was being and doing the things she wanted to be doing. I desperately wanted that. And I think it's a natural human pull toward the truth, the full expression of who you are, and away from being small and trapped. We are here on earth for the full expression of who we are, for more life. And I wanted that, just like all humans want that. So this would be a good time to say, I'm not anti-marriage. And I hope that it does not come across that way. I'm not anti-love. I'm not anti-relationship. In fact, I'm in an amazing relationship now that's fully lit up, full of growth, allows us both to grow and be fully ourselves. And the sex is amazing, out of this world, and we're doing great things. Okay? I am pro-love, pro-relationship, pro-marriage, if that's what you want, okay? And I'm pro staying in marriages that are full of growth and love and amazingness, where the two human beings can really grow together and separately. Okay. I also want to say one more thing, and just pause there for a second. I want to say that last piece that I mentioned about sex, because in full transparency, I thought when I was in my marriage that I wasn't really sexual because I wasn't into it, okay? And I thought it was me, okay, that I just didn't have a strong sex drive. And this was one of those things that my ex and I spoke about when we made the decision to separate, and then ultimately a few days later to divorce. We made a very quick decision. There were actually two main things that we discussed. If nothing changed with our sex life, would he be happy in this marriage? That was my question to him. We had worked on that aspect of our marriage for over 14 years. We even got married having this as a question mark, okay? It's not like we never had sex, guys, just so you know. But in full transparency, I'm owning that I just felt like my sex drive had shut down. So if we hadn't figured it out in the 14 years, and we had been working on it, I had said I would change, I would do better, do more, right? We'd be foolish to think it was going to change now. And I was finally at that point ready to admit it, and then put in front of my great life partner at the time whether that was okay with him. And it turns out that it wasn't, which is kind of obvious. Why would you want to settle for that? And I didn't want him to have to settle for that. Wasn't fair to him. The second thing that we really discussed was, did he want the life that I wanted? And I described what I wanted: the growth, the expansion, the bigger experiences. And he didn't. And I had to accept that. That was a little shocking to me, I have to say. But I wanted to walk forward in truth. So, here's the thing. I desperately wanted him to come along with me on this journey. And we had so many great discussions about the kinds of things that I was learning and the kind of growth path that I was on. And he started reading the same books and going to the same seminars. But ultimately, he didn't want to take the same actions that I was taking. And that was a big deal. And he admitted, he agreed that wasn't his path. So I had to decide whether that was okay with me. We both had those big decisions in front of us. And in that conversation, there was a lot of consciousness about the relationship and ultimately a decision to set each other free. This was not taken lightly, even though we did do it quickly and quite respectfully, and not ultimately, but always from a place of real love and respect for each other. There was no drama. There was no creating wrongness or blame or shame or some sort of drama in the relationship to activate or cause a split. There was no affair. There was no, trespass in how we were showing up with each other that would have caused a split. It was a very conscious choice. And it was probably one of the biggest acts of love, actually. You get to do you, baby, right? You don't have to fit into my world. You don't have to change, compromise your truth, become a smaller version of yourself. You get to have your amazing life. And although divorce is never easy, there's always emotional challenges to it. And neither one of us took it lightly. And I can't speak entirely for him, only for myself, I really came at that decision, and I can actually say this from his perspective too, that came at that decision not just for what would be best for me, but what would be best for the other person. And were we trying to limit the other person's life by fitting them into a box that wasn't theirs to fit in? And we both decided it was important to set each other free. So now other couples may and do make different decisions, okay? I really am not advocating one unique way forward. This is an experience that I'm sharing not to advocate divorce or one singular response. There are many couples that walk the path differently. They grow together, they grow financially, and their marriages grow with them. The money isn't what determines this, okay? But I will say that financial security is a big factor in many women's decisions as to whether they decide to leave a relationship. And that is, something to be aware of and consider, and also, recognize if you're not making a decision because of that. I get it. I get it that you don't want to not have the financials to support yourself and that you want that. Okay. I'm a big proponent of having and executing on the skills to make money. That's a big part of what I teach women. But again, this is ultimately an inside game about who you're being. And that's what's most important. And regardless of your financial situation, you have to make a decision from a place of where you want to be, not a place of where you are now. So what's the after story? So for me, it's been quite extraordinary. Has it always been easy? Absolutely not. Okay? That's a story for another segment in the podcast. If you're interested in that, let us know. Okay? It's not always easy, but it's much easier than you ever thought it could be if you understand the universal laws of success and apply them and live them. And commit to them. Commit to your extraordinary life. I'm committed to my extraordinary life. And it's because I know that love, safety, and belonging are all self-generated, and that my environment is just a looking glass, meaning a mirror, a reflection of who I'm being that allows me to keep creating at bigger and bigger levels. I'm reminded of that every day as I hold myself to higher internal standards. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. No. But what I do is I look at my results, ask myself, is that what I want? And I change so quickly in order to get the results that I want, hold myself to a higher standard, generate that level of beingness to get the new level of results that I want. But I had to step out of a relationship that was a crutch for me. Now, I'm not projecting this onto you. Your relationship might be, and I hope it is, for everyone, not a crutch, but an additive, amazing, life-giving experience. And I will say, let me clarify this. There were many aspects of my relationship and my partnership with my ex that were incredibly life-giving and expansive and wonderful. And we wouldn't have stayed together for so many years if that wasn't the truth, at least not for the two of us. And yet, in some very fundamental places, it had become a crutch. So in order to learn how to truly love myself and not be dependent on getting that from the outside, and thus being always in a state of insecurity because it could be taken away, I had to do the work to set myself free. And the great love that I feel currently in my current relationship is based on the love I currently feel for myself. I recognize that every day And it's been such a great gift. And it's something that can never be taken away from me now. It's a knowledge that cannot be unseen. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I understand that this might be quite a triggering conversation, topic, perspective on marriage. I get that. Please feel free to share your comments with me. I'm open to hearing what you have to say. And I'm also open to, if you want to send me a private email with any questions you might have about this or advice you might want about something that's going on in your life, business, marriage, partnership. This is an important topic. And if you need some help with that, please reach out to me. My email is Amira at amiraalvarez.com. We'll put that in the show notes so that you can have easy access to that. But it's Amira, Amira, at amiraalvarez.com. Amira, AL, V as in Victor, AREZ.com. Okay, with that, rock it out. Be unstoppable. Hey, thanks so much for joining us and being part of the Unstoppable Woman movement. We have got a ton of free resources for scaling your business at theunstoppablewoman.com/free stuff. And you can find that link in the description below. So go ahead and check those out. And we'd also love your help in getting our message out to more and more women. If you'd be willing to share this video with all the unstoppable women in your life, that would be fantastic. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Reviews, likes, and comments are greatly appreciated. We go in and read them all. So thank you for those. And thanks for listening, and be unstoppable.